So one thing that Kevin Feige over at Marvel Studios really wanted to reassure fans about had a lot to do with the fact that the Marvel Cinematic Universe, according to him, is just getting started where it stands today, and that there is a very wide future ahead of us, at least 5 to 10 years worth of material on top of what they already have. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, I don't know about you guys, but ever since the Marvels debuted in theaters, I think it's very safe to say that a lot of Marvel fans have abandoned ship over at Disney and their direction of the MCU and what Kevin Feige has really been agreeing to based on Bob Iger's demands about where this has to go through the usage of DEI to the max, as well as diverting from source material in different areas. Now, we have a lot to talk about today because there's a lot of things happening for the 2025 year and beyond. Now, we already know that 2024 is going to be a very barren year for Disney specifically, and mostly for the Marvel Universe, right? The only movie that we have coming out for next year is Deadpool 3 when it comes to the MCU, and that is it. Disney basically views that as the saving grace of 2024 to make the proper comeback for that year. Now look, call it what you want, no matter if it has Deadpool on it, you can definitely expect a lot of Disney's garbage to be thrown into this movie. We know that there were already a lot of back and forth scenarios between Ryan Reynolds and the higher-ups over at Disney based on some creative differences, so that's already a bad sign to begin with. And we also know that originally, Disney wanted to have Captain Marvel to make a very big cameo, at least in the third act of Deadpool 3. That actually got cancelled, thankfully, because of Brie's role in the Marvels failing completely. But let's go beyond all of this, because this is where matters get even worse. Now, with Disney currently struggling with the Marvel Universe as it is, after multiple failures, one major development has to do with Bob Iger's stance now on the future of the MCU and what Kevin Feige recently agreed for Phase 6 and beyond. Now, for starters, the current plan by the writers and creators of Blade 2025 is to carry over elements from the abandoned script that was going to make the film an all-female-led story. Pieces of that story are indeed shifting over into the current one to make Blade a secondary character, with actress Mia Goth to become the main lead role as the film that is planned to center and focus on her instead of Blade. In addition to this, Blade will also suffer a drastic last-minute budget cutback that was recently pushed by Bob Iger as per his cost containment plan that is going to result in a more cheaply made film by diverting from expensive set builds and overly demanding CGI strategies in this movie in particular. Now, to make matters even worse than that, with Fantastic Four for 2025, both Iger and Kevin Feige recently agreed to have the story shift away from the source material from the comics, and that they are preparing to do something brand new and unique this time around in order to make Fantastic Four into a wild success. Both Iger and Kevin are also both in agreement to double down on the usage of DEI in Fantastic Four and many of Disney's agendas. Iger's cost containment plan is also set to heavily impact this movie to make it a smaller scale story and a tightly budgeted project moving onwards. Disney is reportedly planning to change the entire nature and performance of Doctor Doom while also keeping his screen time down to a bare minimum for this project. Now, a similar situation to what happened in the previous Fantastic Four remake in the mid-2010s also happened. However, one movement by Disney that makes matters way worse than this is that Kevin Feige at Marvel Studios recently made a proposal to Disney that got quickly approved, is that the original story of Blade, that was all female-led, will be planned to also be used in another future project related to the Blade storyline, either in the form of a TV series / spin-off, and or as a Blade sequel to double down on a female ensemble cast in the Blade story, so to speak, while also having him as the secondary character again. Now, let me just say one thing about that. Now, I think that this most definitely equates to why Ali has been having a lot of problems behind the scenes with Blade 2025, and how he really has been very reluctant with this movie's production. And if I were him, I would walk away right now. I would walk away from this movie ASAP. I would just call it quits. I don't care what would happen, you know, this is going to definitely tarnish his career if it ends up being right up there with the Marvels or Ant-Man Quantumania or anything related to Disney's ongoing failures of 2023. Now, look, we also know that Blade and Fantastic Four, Disney is aiming to make those two movies a very big success, but at the same exact time, they seem to be embracing self-sabotage. They're throwing DEI nonsense into these films, and they're also using abandoned scripts to be used in future material. So let me be clear about that. The all-female-led treatment of Blade 2025 that was abandoned is going to be used as extra material for either a sequel and or a spin-off for the Blade storyline. That could be anything on Disney Plus to Blade 2 or whatever they plan on doing in the future. They're keeping that pretty much locked up for future use. So again, we know that this is not going to end anytime soon by Bob Iger and Kevin Feige. Regardless of them having their differences, they agree more with each other than they disagree. That's pretty much a given between Kevin and Bob. So the MCU, I think, is going to be very interesting, and not in a good way, by the way, but it's going to be interesting to see how much of a downturn it's going to take come 2025 and 26. And by the time we get to Avengers Secret Wars, I'm really wondering, are there going to be a large, fan base? Is there going to be a large fan base at that point in time that's still sticking around to support a major Avengers film? Who knows? It's a ways off, right? It's way too early to tell. And, well, Bob Iger is just continuing to destroy many brands associated with Disney. Now, moving on, we know that at the same exact time, Kevin Feige is not letting go of the usage of DEI. He wants to throw this also into many other spin-offs for the future to kind of really just embrace everything that Bob Iger is pushing. And everything related to the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now is going to be cheaply made. Whether it's a movie or a TV show, Bob Iger's cost containment plan is going active for the Marvel Universe starting next year and moving onwards, at least for the next 4 years. That's the current plan by Iger. So you're going to see these more cheaply made Marvel products, be it shows or movies on the big screen. And I think that what's going to happen is you're going to see this big contrast to what Marvel's going to look like in a couple of years' time to what it looks like even right now. If you thought the Marvels was bad, just wait and see what's going to happen in the next couple of years. I think it's really going to be something that we have never seen before as far as contrast goes. Looking at one side of the MCU in the future and looking back at it where it is today. So overall, what they're doing with Fantastic Four, I think, is just so much of a disgrace to the core fans. This was a golden opportunity. They're already moving forward with gender swapping the Silver Surfer and all these different aspects that are being pushed, by the way. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.